Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Mark Roll. Alright, I am on my long weekend again. I actually took a day off yesterday. Can do that a little bit when I'm only producing a couple of videos a week. So that's nice. It's nice to kind of be able to recharge my batteries. But I got a couple things I want to do today. First off, I need to get somebody out to look at my fireplace. I had an issue about a month ago. I tried to build a fire in the fireplace, and something's wrong with the chimney. The smoke didn't go up the chimney. It came into the house. I ended up having to put the fire out, and the house stunk for a while. Now, I tried to call a professional at the time and never got anyone to get back to me. I even went up and looked myself, and it doesn't look like something I can deal with. There seems to be like some metal plate over the top of the chimney on the roof there, and I can't seem to get that up. It seems to be rusted closed. So I want to get somebody, a professional up there to look at it and figure out what's going on. We've talked about it a little bit on the live stream, and some people suggested maybe an animal got in there, but unless the animal got in from inside the house, there's no chance of that because it's very secure up there. There's no way an animal got in there. So I don't know what that is, but I'm going to call a professional, get somebody to come out and look at that and see if we can figure out what's going on. Also, I want to get a contractor out and have them start exploring, getting a quote set up for me to do that little patio section underneath the patio cover in the backyard. My mom kind of wants to help a little bit with that, call it a housewarming gift and that kind of stuff. And now's kind of the time to do it because, I'm not really using the backyard that much anyway at the moment. Because the pool's uninhabitable right now. I don't want to go for a swim in a 60-degree pool. So now's the time to do that and get it done, and that starts with getting some quotes. So we're going to do that also. But I got one little piece of business that I got to deal with ahead of time. I've been kind of dealing with this issue for a while. We've been trying something, and I just don't think it's going to work. So we're going to change it. We're going to change that right now. Alright, so yeah, here we go. This is a big surprise. I've been kind of mulling over cutting it off for a while. It's been kind of getting to the point where it's a little annoying at work. It gets tangled up in the mask. It takes so much longer to get done in the morning. And honestly, it kept tickling my ears, and that kind of bugged me too. So, I've been kind of mulling, cutting it for a couple weeks, and we finally did it. So that was it. It wasn't anything the boss said. The boss doesn't really care what you look like as long as you're clean. And so that wasn't the issue. I just wanted to, I tried it for a while, and it was more me back in the 90s than it is now. So we're back to this, and we're just going to kind of keep it short for a while again. We are moving into summer anyway, so that'll be nice too. So anyway, let's get on with the other jobs. Now, as I mentioned a little earlier, I also had an issue with the fireplace about a month ago. I tried to build a fire in the fireplace, and the smoke didn't go up the chimney. Instead, it came out into the house, and it smoked out the whole house one night. So one night, it's like 30 degrees outside, and I got to have all the doors and windows open to let all the smoke out. So the next day, I actually went up there and looked, and I actually did some filming up there, so I'm going to actually show you what I saw at that point, so you can kind of get an idea what they're going to have to deal with. But I determined at that point it was going to kind of be beyond my ability to deal with. So this is one of those things, sometimes you just got to call a contractor when you don't know what you're doing yourself. It's a good thing I decided not to paint here yet. Look at all the soot I got on the right above the fireplace, because it was literally just fuming out of here. I had to actually... It was 40 degrees last night. I actually had to open up the windows and air this place out. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Got a little soot up there on the ceiling too. Like I said, glad I haven't painted this part yet, but we're gonna go look into this thing and try and figure out what happened. All right, so I actually put a little light in here so I can actually see a little bit better what's going on. There's actually, as I see it, there's two traps here. There's one big door right here, which is controlled with this lever, and that's that one up there. And then there's the second one that's controlled by the chain. That appears to be further up in there. And I remember the first time I used this thing, I wasn't sure which way was open and which way was closed. I knew that there was probably a trap door in there because I've seen that before. But I wasn't sure which one was open, which one was closed. I determined that this is the way you have it open. And then when you unlatch it here, the whole thing goes up and the trap goes down, the trap closes. But I was able at the time to figure out which was which by putting it into both positions and then looking up. And at one point, when it was in this position, I could see light up there, which meant to me the trapdoor was open. When I do that now, I don't see any light up there. So that tells me that there's some sort of an obstruction above this, and I'm going to have to go outside and look at it. All right, so I'm up on top of the chimney right now, and there's this metal plate here, and I'm figuring underneath that is like a screen that they'll use for like a spark arrestor to keep, you know, any sparks or any embers from coming out of here. And I'm guessing that might be plugged up, but I was going to try and take this plate off, and there was like 4 screws here, 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 and here, and I was able to get those off, but I can't get this one to come off, and without getting that nut off, I think it's all rusted together. And I can't get it to, you know, I can get it to spin, but I think it's just turning the whole thing and it isn't actually loosening up inside. So sometimes you just got to get to the point where you say to yourself, okay, I'm in over my head, it's time to call the experts. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do in this case. You know, I don't know how to do everything, and sometimes it's better just to get someone who knows what they're doing. So I'm going to call in an expert and let them take a look at this. So I guess that means no fires in the fireplace for a while. All right, so I've got an appointment with someone to come out and look at my chimney on Wednesday. So hopefully they'll be able to get that fixed. You know, it's $100 to get them to come out and look, and then whatever they have to do to fix the problem. And hopefully it won't be anything serious. As you saw from that video before, that the main problem that prevented me from getting in there was just that one screw was rusted. So, you know, I think if they get that thing out, then they can open it up and see what's going on in there, and it should be not a terribly difficult thing, because like I said, I don't think there's a nest or anything in there, or a bird's nest, because I don't think there's any way, you saw, there's not any way that anything could have gotten into that thing, at least not unless they got in from inside the house. And the only 2 things that are living that would even consider going in there are the kitties, and they're both accounted for. So we'll cross that bridge, and hopefully they'll be able to deal with it. I've also put in a couple of requests for bids for this concrete work, and we'll see what happens there too. I'm supposed to get some calls within the next 48 hours, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get going on that too. And since we're starting to get a little closer to spring and planting season, I was over at Home Depot yesterday and picked up a couple little packets of seeds for different things that I think I'm going to put into my elevated garden in a few weeks. A lot of this stuff requires that you start it out indoors in a pot and then transplant it out after it starts growing. So it kind of made sense to get going on that right now. And these are the things I've kind of looked at that I think I'm gonna try and grow in this first season, at least to start with here. A couple different varieties of tomatoes, some cherry tomatoes and some beefsteak tomatoes. I love tomatoes, so that's always good. I love corn on the cob, so we're gonna try growing some corn, a little spinach, a little broccoli, of course some jalapeno peppers. I'm still looking for some habanero pepper seeds. I think we'll try that too. And then a couple of herbs, some cilantro, and some catnip for the kitties. I think maybe they'll enjoy that. So we'll be playing with that over the next few weeks, and stay tuned for that. Sounds like maybe I got an offer for some masonry work. Let's go check it out. Yeah, that email I got was just something from Angie's List there. They've already got me on their radar, and so I'm sure I'm going to get all sorts of spam email from them now. You know, trying to advertise to get me to do other things. That's generally how these things work. They say they want your email address so they can contact you just for this job, but in reality it's about, you know, future business as well. So I don't know. I intentionally dealt with that issue at one point because I set up a real email address and one that is obviously for spam, and I only give the companies my spam email address. So, you know, worst comes to worst, I can just dump the address and move on. Everyone who matters gets the real one, and everyone who has the potential to abuse it and start spamming me gets the spam address. So, you know, that's just the way it works. It's just the reality I've had to deal with. But we'll kind of hold back and see what happens. Also, while I was out and about yesterday, I decided I was going to get myself a deep fat fryer so I can make some fried chicken. Can't be a Texan unless you have a deep fat fryer, and I know it's the most unhealthy way of cooking anything, but whatever, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. So I think we're going to experiment with that tonight. We're going to make some fried chicken for dinner, and I got to figure out how to do that. So I got the equipment to do it, and all I got to do is find a good recipe. All right, so it's the end of the day. I've basically haven't heard anything at all from the concrete people. So they said I should get some sort of a call from them in the next 48 hours. So we'll see what happens. I went through Angie's list and we'll see what they come up with. If not, I may just contact some contractors independently. I did notice that a couple months ago, one of my neighbors a couple blocks over had their driveway redone. So worst case scenario, I could probably go over to them and see what they think of their vendor and maybe contact that person. I did make contact with the chimney sweep guy, and they're going to come out on Wednesday morning and see if they can figure out what's going on there, and hopefully we can get a fireplace going. And I also played around a little bit with my deep fat fryer, and I still got to do a little work on that in order to understand it a little better. I think I overcooked it. The instructions that came with the unit said that when you're cooking chicken, cook it for 20 to 25 minutes. Well, that seemed like really long to me. So I kind of made just an executive decision and said, you know what, I'm going to try it for about 10 minutes and let's see where that ends up. And that was still a little bit too long. So, I got to figure this out. But right now, the chicken I got was a little rough and a little dry and all that. So, I'm going to play around with it and figure it out, and hopefully at some point I'll be able to do some bites and nibbles recipe with the deep fat fryer. That might be kind of fun. And like I said, I need to know how to do that because I am a Texan now. So anyway, I think that is all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Skipping the Mouse. Good night.